Disclaimer. Any of the guidance offered by the podcast host, myself, or the podcast guests is our own guidance. We are not liable for any of the actions the podcast listener decides to do. Welcome back to the Self-Esteem and Confidence Mindset podcast with me, Johnny Pardo. And today I welcome one of my heroes and someone I consider to be a great mentor to me, Danny Morel, to the show. Welcome, Danny.
Welcome. And a brother, hopefully.
And a brother, of course. Absolutely. So, yeah, I'd like to introduce Danny, and then we're going to dive into the conversation. So, Danny Morel is an entrepreneur turned spiritual guide who has helped thousands to achieve true abundance in their finances, relationships, and health through deep healing work and spiritual awakenings. Danny offers private coaching, speaking, and his Awaken Your Highest Self events that draw upwards of 600 to 700 attendees at every event. They are incredible, by the way. He is also a recognized thought leader who is frequently featured in major national media, such as Forbes, Entrepreneur, and Business Insider. Danny, I'm so glad to have you on the podcast. I get the pleasure of speaking to many amazing people, but I wanted you on the podcast because of the impact you've had on my life, and I know how many people's lives you've had an incredible impact on. I discovered your work just over a year ago, and wow, really, really powerful. And I know you've got your new book coming out, Awaken Your Highest Self, which is amazing. So what I'd like to ask first of all is, you help people heal. You have these events, all these different ways, maybe some highlights from your story, but in particular, what was the moment that made you go inside and start going on your own healing journey? Because I know you're in real estate, you had a certain life. Yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, everything started for me, Johnny. Society gives us be successful, have a business, get married, go to church, and then you'll be happy. And I did all of those to the absolute best of my ability. Like I was the perfect student of the roadmap. I built a business that did $1 billion in annual sales. I was married for 13 years. I went to church every single week. And all of a sudden, one day, my mother passed away. And when my mother passed away, man, it's as if she transitioned to the other side. And the moment that started happening, I started to get these questions that I couldn't shake. Questions like, are you happy? And Johnny, I would get that question. And the truth is that I would be afraid of answering it because I knew the answer. I knew the answer was no. The second one was, are you in love? And I was married at the time for 13 years, and I knew the answer to that. The answer to that
Mm.
one was no. And then the third question was, do you love what you do? And are you doing your life's purpose? And I was afraid to answer that one because even though on the outside, it's like, the money was there, and the stuff was there, the fulfillment wasn't, the peace wasn't. And so I knew the answer to that one, and that answer was no as well. And that's where I started getting really scared because I followed the game of life by the book. I did it to the best that I could. And yet I started to realize in that moment that it was all a facade, that it was all like just this exterior mask that I had created to keep me from actually going into what was actually going on in my life that had me create all of it from the first place. And that's where my spiritual awakening began.
Mm. And I know you went on like many different modalities, and I know one of them was going to the plant medicine. That was a powerful one for you. How did you stumble across that?
Yeah, so I was really religious. And just to describe, I was a Christian, and I was one of these Christians that like did Bible study, no, Bible seminary. I was going to enroll in, I would baptize people, the whole thing. And one of the things that happens is when you're highly religious is that anything outside of that
Mm.
religion, you get wrong. And you make it wrong because religion in and of itself isn't love. It's actually the opposite frequency of love. It is actually deeply rooted in fear. And I say this to a lot of my students all the time is that fear controls and love allows. And so the fear in me back then would control what I allowed myself to see or not see. So whenever somebody would mention plant medicine, mind you, these were happy people, these were well-balanced people, really grounded people, spiritually connected people, and they would tell me, "Oh my God, you got to try this thing." And guess what I would say? I would say, "No, that's evil, that's bad, that's the devil, that's whatever." That was the fear in me controlling my story. And well, When life brings you to your knees, your mother's death does, you're going nowhere and you're getting there fast. And so finally, what I started to think to myself is that I started to think, okay, instead of believing, I want to know. I don't want to believe that this stuff is evil. I want to know that it's evil. If it is, I can handle that. But I need to go discover that for myself. And so that's what led me on my journey with plant medicine. And it changed my life forever.
Wow, powerful. No, having to actually experience that. And how did you find it different from like anything else you had done?
It is what there's I don't really stutter much, but there's no human words to describe how
Mm,
different it actually is, because life prior to a spiritual moment and life after a spiritual moment, it's just two completely different lives. And to speak the truth, Johnny, one of the things that I want to make sure people know is that ultimately you are the medicine. Ultimately, you don't even need the medicine. But we do need the medicine at the beginning because it gives us a spiritual experience, one that allows us to heal and connect the dots about everything that's been bothering us in our deepest subconscious mind and energy for all our lives. And that's why I wrote the book. I
mm,
wrote the book the way that I wrote it because, on one aspect, I just want to admit to everybody it's just a book. It's a powerful book, but it's just a book. And a book can only impact you really here. Like, it'll give you some thoughts and it'll
mm.
give you some knowledge. But what you're actually looking for isn't knowledge, and you're looking to embody. And embodiment only happens when you become the knowledge. And that only happens through rewiring and healing your masculine and your feminine energy, because knowledge alone only impacts the masculine. When you touch into the power of the masculine and the feminine, that's when you begin to embody it. And that's when you become the living vibration of the thing that you once searched so deeply for, which means you can stop searching because you have now become it.
I like that. You are the medicine that you seek, because constantly what I feel is all around is like people telling us what to do, do this, do that. Like on socials, we see it all the time. But you're allowing people to see that they're their own medicine.
That's right. We are our own medicine, and yet we need medicine to help us discover that, because we're
Mm,
so disconnected from our truth. We're so disconnected from our essence. We're
mm,
so busy looking for the answer outside of us, in a podcast, in a seminar, in anything. And I want to be the first to tell you guys, this is why you get let down by all these gurus, is because there is no guru. You are the guru. As a matter of fact, if you look at India, where this guru is very prevalent, what do you see? You see this major divide between the haves and the have nots. And that is because there's an energy when you think of life from the answers are in the guru. The answers will never be in the guru. The answers are only and always will be in you. Now, there are humans that are here to guide you and show you how to discover those answers within yourself. But that's a much different experience. That's a much different energy. It's a much different frequency. And the only way that someone can take you on that journey is if they've discovered within themselves that they or no one is a guru. And we're all just leading ourselves back to ourselves.
Danny, you also mentioned about the masculine and feminine energy a moment ago as well. What is the masculine energy and what is the feminine energy for you? Because it's talked about quite a bit, but I'd love to hear it from you.
In its simplest form, the masculine is your masculine is with yourself, your thoughts, your feminine is your mother, and your relationship with the feminine embodies your relationship with your mother, which in essence is your relationship with your heart, your feelings, your emotions, and what you believe you are worthy of in this life. That at its root cause is the masculine and the feminine. It is actually your relationship and everything that you downloaded and learned from your mother and your father. And when you heal that, you transform everything about your life, including what I call the three energies of human mastery: money, relationships, and health.
Do you feel like with those three energies that you just touched on, money, relationship, and health, that like, can you be wounded in one and not the others? Because I know I'm just
They're
all of it.
all one and the same. It could look like one is doing better
Mm,
than the others, but when you like really peel back the layers,
mm.
you're going to start to discover that they're all really, really similar. Can I give you an example?
Yeah, I'd love to hear it. Yeah.
Well, I am a notorious people pleaser. I notoriously, in relationships, give and give and give and give without expecting anything in return. And, my wife or whoever I'm with, but, obviously my wife is very well taken care of. She has it all. I provide for her. She's got beautiful jewelry. She's taken on trips all around the world. And I haven't really allowed her to do the same for me because my emotional and mental makeup was love equals you go work for it. And it's all about other people. Check the same story with business.
Mm,
With business, I would do the same thing. With business, money, I mean, my events, I was undercharging for my events.
I'd agree.
Yeah, we were having a 3-day event for $497. That's just stupid.
Mm,
That's just ridiculous. But my story was I gotta help heal humanity, even at the cost of myself. Can you see that?
yeah.
So on the outside, you'd probably look at me and go like, "Oh my God, this guy has millions of followers and, he's got a book and he's an author. Wow, life must be great." And I'm just being honest and authentic with you.
Mm,
Look at the correlation between the two.
mm,
Yeah. And you peel back the layers and you really look at what's going on. Energy manifests itself in the same way in your finances, in your relationships. It's always the same.
that's really interesting because, yeah, on the outside, someone might look like, for example, they're killing it in the money game, but externally they struggle with maybe a romantic relationship or something. But there could be a similar like wound, you're saying.
Most successful entrepreneurs are unsuccessful in relationship. And the reason why is because most successful entrepreneurs are successful because of a wound. Their motivation, their drive, 100% is normally attached to a mother or a father wound. So they're working hard to build a big business because they are lacking significance, self worth, and groundedness within themselves. In their subconscious energy, in their mind, and in their heart, they learned that love wasn't available for them as a little boy or a little girl. So they decided way back then, I'm going to go become successful. I'm going to go become powerful. I'm going to go become wealthy because then I will feel what I didn't feel as a little boy and little girl. The problem is that once you start the awakening journey, you realize you could reach the mountaintop of business and you'll still be empty
Mm,
because you will never be fulfilled by anything outside of you. You can only be fulfilled by healing and returning within.
mm. And if someone truly heals and goes within, they go through Danny's book, his programs, his events. Do you feel like all three of those areas are going to show up in abundance?
What there's no choice. The deeper and I wanna just share this. It's not Danny's stuff.
Okay, yeah,
It's
sure.
just a universal law. It's just universal truth. Everything you've been searching for your whole life is within. You are mind and heart. You are mother, father. You are masculine, feminine. You are energy. And everything in your life on the outside is just a reflection of what's happening inside. The money you have or don't have is just a reflection of how worthy you feel or don't feel. The work that you have to put in for that money is just a reflection of your beliefs of what you have to give in order to receive love. The relationship that you have or don't have, the partner that you're with or not with, how you show up in relationship and how others show up in relationship with you is 100% a creation of the energy living inside of you. And this is why I tell this is why I tell everyone the most important thing you can do is awaken your highest self and then heal your heart. Because when you do, you will literally have more in life with less effort, less stress, and you will be more at peace. And that is a universal law. There's no way it can't happen because as within, so without.
Universal law. Yeah, makes a lot of sense as well to me. You said something there that actually I was going to ask you about this quote, but you said
Oh,
it.
wait a minute, Johnny. Wait a minute. Let's talk about this. Johnny, do you remember when we met?
Yes,
You were a different man.
I was. Yeah.
There was a lot of confusion.
There's a lot of anger, a lot of
There was a
head.
lot of anger, a lot of frustration, a lot of fear, and there was a lot of wondering, especially about the relationship part.
Yeah.
How do you feel right now, a year later?
I feel very trusting on my own intuition, allowing a lot more rather than trying to control everything. You know, I got a project management background, but my mind was very, it's got to be this, this, and this. Why did that not fall in place? But like you say, love allows. And I think that was one of the most powerful lessons I learned from you. That's what I've taken on board.
And what was the outcome? This new relationship, is it not, and I don't know, but is it not one of the best you've ever been in?
Yeah, it's amazing.
Can I tell you why? Because it's just a reflection of the vibrational upgrade in which you live at now. That's
Mm.
it. In other words, she was just waiting and her energy was just waiting for you to raise to meet her vibration and vice versa. We only attract based off of what we feel. That's how it works.
Absolutely. I'd also share a little bit further, just then on that as well. I was always someone who would, you know, attract intelligent, attractive women who are kind, you know, quite, you know, decent women and stuff, but they'd avoid and sort of like abandon me. And then when I heard you, I was like, why does that keep happening? And I went, oh, and then, you know, did some deep work, a lot of discovery. And I went, hang on, now I found a beautiful woman who's kind, generous, like fun. And she's like really into me and loves me. How did I attract that? And then I went,
It
that's what
was
I
you.
realized from what you taught me.
And all we did was heal what was inside.
Why do you think some people find it hard to get on board the idea that the outside is a reflection of the inside?
Because it's the energy. It's the energy of fear. When we live in the energy of fear, I cover this in the book, we are unconsciously living in the energy of separation. And when we're in the energy of separation, we are unconsciously, and I say unconsciously, brother, because it's not something that you wake up and then you go, Today I'm going to live in the energy of separation." You don't do that. It's just a vibration, but you live in the energy of victimization. And when you live in the energy of victimization, victim energy sees everything as happening to me.
Mm.
Victim sees everything as the answer is out there, the problem is out there, the solution is out there, everything is out there. And that's why it's so hard for people to get on board with the fact that it's actually the opposite. What you see out there, what you experience out there, what you attract out there is actually a reflection of what you feel and are in here. That's the shift. That's when the veil parts. That's when you come from the societal version of yourself and the societal version of your life to the spiritual version of yourself, to the spiritual version of your life. And that's scary for people because
Mm.
that's going to require ego deaths. It's going to require a letting go of all that you once thought, of all that what you once believed. It's going to require courage. It's going to require for you to go, I want to know the truth. And most people don't actually want to know the truth because as the saying goes, the truth will actually set you free. But most people don't want to be free because they get a lot of
Wow.
attention, a lot of energy and a lot of juice from not being free and from living in poor me.
So unconscious, as you pointed out as well.
Yeah,
Powerful.
man. Yeah.
Danny, you do a lot of like in your events, you do a lot, you do breath work at the end, you know, in your sessions, and that's one of your key tools. What do you think the power of breath work is in healing?
So, do you remember when I said earlier that knowledge is
Mm.
when we read a book, when we listen to a podcast, when we find a great video on Instagram, we're getting knowledge. But that's just half of you. That's just the upper half of you. That's just the masculine. The feminine is all about receiving. The feminine is all about your emotions. The feminine is all about you feeling. Yeah. So I could tell you, yeah, you're going to attract a partner when you feel different inside. You can go, great, I learned that, but nothing happened. You have to become that. You have to become the energetic vibrational match to that, to the consciousness of that. That's when it all starts happening. And the reason why I do breath work at Awaken and included in my book, by the way, is because the only way you can actually change your life is through you going into you and connecting with the divine. It's for you to have a profound spiritual experience. And that no guru, no teacher, no one can give you. Only you can give that to yourself. And when you remember that, you will remember how powerful you actually are and how beautiful life actually is. And that's why I included the breath work from Awaken in the book. We're talking about people pay thousands of dollars to fly in from all over the world to come to the event, get on a plane, travel, hotels, do all of that. But I wanted people to have that same experience, so I included it in the book.
Oh, wow. And I know some people have very, wow, profound experiences in the breath work, like ancestors, seeing all sorts of stuff stored in their body as well,
Absolutely.
to kind of go into that deeper journey. I want to ask you a little bit about, maybe there's an individual out there and they're thinking, I've had so much hurt, so much trauma. You know, some people go through some like horrendous things you wouldn't wish on anyone. And maybe there's someone out there going, I went through all of this. Can I ever heal? What would your guidance be to them?
My guidance would be the deeper the trauma and the pain, the more profound the healing. My guidance would be that one of the most beautiful that the beauty of life starts to open up for us when we leave resistance. You see, I didn't share this, but I was born to a mother whose mother died when she was only 13 days old. So my mom never knew how to feel, never felt maternal love, never felt a mother's love. That's why she couldn't give it to me. That's why I went out to try to find it in success and significance. Same thing with my father. My father never knew his father's love. And as a matter of fact, his grandmother shipped him off at 8 years old to America by himself. So he not only never had his father's love and guidance, but he felt alone most of his life. Well, what do you think that meant for me? He didn't know how to be a father to me. And when we're in resistance, we look at that and we go, I wish that my mom was different. I wish that my dad was different. Why did they treat me that way? Why weren't they more like my friend's mom or like my friend's dad, which are all things I used to wish? And when we start our awakening process, we shift into the energy of allowance and we shift into the vibration of love, which allows us to see everything that's happened in our life as perfect, no matter how hard it was. And I just want to say, in the work that we work with some people that have gone through some really,
Mm,
really, really tough things. And what I've found always is that those are the people that actually are given the most beautiful spiritual gifts. Because the more that you can work through and heal, the more powerful the access is on the other side. So
mm.
that would be my encouragement to people.
And some of the most powerful teachers and coaches out there from what they've gone through.
That's absolutely right. So the invitation is grab the book and instead of looking at it, which you've been looking at it this way, rightfully so because of the pain, but the pain looks at it from the perspective of resistance and comparison. The love in you, the love in you looks at it from the perspective of acceptance and the fact that everything that's happened to you has actually been perfect because it's what led you to be who you are today. And that's when you could literally, like, transform your life forever.
Wow. Coming at a love allows again, as a phrase I always remember from you.
Right.
Powerful one. Danny, I want to I get a lot of people struggling in the dating scene, like listening to the podcast and thinking dating's so hard, it's a struggle. And I can totally resonate as well in the past. Why do you think so many people are challenged with dating these days?
Because humans are challenged these days. Humans are challenged with human life these days. Humans have been bamboozled to believe that their value is on the outside. So everyone is so busy
Mm,
focused on how many Instagram followers they have, how big their boobs are, how big their lips are, how big their car is, how beautiful the watch is, how good they look. And love doesn't give a shit about how you look. Real love is not on the outside, it's on the inside. That's why dating is so messed up right now. It's the natural conclusion to humanity living from the exterior. So the beautiful thing is, because it's so messed up, it's actually so beautiful when you fix it. Because you become one of the rare human beings that instead of focusing on the outside, went on the journey of awakening your highest self and healing the inside, healing your energy and becoming a vibrational match for everything that you want in life. And that's when, think about this, when most of the population is living in fear and the exterior, and a very few portion of the population has done the hard work to live in love and the interior, these people are popping up left and right with soulmates and partners. And that is the future. I just want to say that. You either going to live in fear or in love, in separation or in oneness, in the control of the mind or the vastness of the heart.
So it's all about quite a lot to do with kind of like trying to get this external validation and not coming back into who we are.
Yeah. The more and more that you connect with your truth, the more and more that you reconnect with your heart, the more and more that dating is just a reflection for what's going on inside.
And I also just wanted to touch on like money, because I know you were in real estate before you dived into your spiritual journey, which can be very high earning thing for some if you do it right. But a lot of people are also struggling with money these days. Like I worked in sales, and people wanting to get the money together, and my heart goes out to them sometimes, and helping them think of a solution. I don't feel like there's a shortage of strategy in how to make money. It's more of an internal thing.
That's right. There's not a shortage of strategy or a shortage of money. Again, it's that, didn't I tell you earlier? I said it's just the same thing. The
Mm,
same issues that people are having with dating are the same issues that people are having with money. And we go deep into that in the book. We show you where your money blockages are actually coming. As a matter of fact, we don't show it to you. We just guide you to discover it for yourself. 100% of money also has to do with your mother and father. It's not the economy, it's not the president or the prime minister. It has nothing to do with any of that. It has to do with the energy inside of you that thinks it has to do with that. And that you downloaded from your parents.
mm. So is it about fixing your relationship with your parents as well?
Well, with everything, about healing your masculine and feminine, awakening your highest self. And through that, yes, you are eventually going to go and look back and heal the relationship with your mom and dad. Yeah.
Wow. So it's so profound, like how empowering, not that it's not challenging, but how empowering it can be from everything I've learned from you and what you've shared today, that actually always comes back to the inside rather than us all chasing around on the external.
Well, Johnny, think about it, man. Like, and that the beautiful thing about the message I'm sharing, which I know is if you're listening to me right now, I know it's resonating with you, probably challenging you, probably making you mad. It's doing something to you because it's the truth. The answer is within. And guess what that means? That means I don't care how bad your life has been. I don't care how hard it's been. I don't care what you're facing right now. If you go inward, you will heal and you will unlock different chambers of your heart and soul, which will naturally cause you to attract different things in your life. As within, so without. As above, so below. It's just the way it is.
Beautiful. Thank you, Danny. Danny, I would love to sort of like end on where can someone find your book, and maybe a little bit about, and also all, your resources and support that you offer in the world. And maybe anything you'd like to highlight about the book that you haven't mentioned already.
I think anybody can go on Amazon. The Audible version is already to get the book. Anything that I haven't highlighted about the book is that it's not a book, it's a journey. And so I would say proceed with caution because this journey will change your life forever. You just have to be ready for that. And if you are, it's going to be a beautiful experience.
Amazing, Danny. Well, thank you for everything you've done for the world, and what I've learned from you. I appreciate you, and thank you for coming on today. It's been amazing talking to you.
Thank you as well, brother. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So that concludes today's episode. And remember to lead with your heart and not with fear.